There we go. So we're going to start with talking about Tommy Tune. Tommy Tune was a protege of Michael Bennett. And Tommy Tune actually, his height certainly made him stick out in the chorus. But his very first performance I showed you last week was choreographed by Michael Bennett as a actor in the musical Seesaw. But he rescued a great many musicals, including The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, A Day in Hollywood 9, and every one of them would have probably faded away if it hadn't been for his clear stepping in. He came from Texas and he made it on the scene in the early 1970s. Just as an interesting aside, when he accepted his Tony Award, when he was nominated for a Tony Award for Seesaw, he was told he had to leave his partner at home because the audiences would not like seeing that in the audience, and he brought him anyway, kissed him, and ran up on stage to get his Tony. So there you go. It was a long time ago.
Remember when Bob Hope?
This is A Day in Hollywood and Night in the Ukraine, a review of Hollywood in the 1930s in the first act. In the second act, a musical spoof of a Marx Brothers movie. This is the first really big musical the second big musical that he choreographs. And this is an incredible tap dance scene talking about the Hollywood production code, as ridiculous as it was when they created it in 1930.
And Shirley Ross sang Thanks for the Memory in the movie The Big Broadcast of 1938. Well, the original lyric to that song contained a line which offended the Hollywood censor's production code. Here's the chorus with the dirty lyric.
Thanks for the memory
of transatlantic calls, China's funny walls,
that weekend at Niagara when we never saw the fall.
Oh, shame, shame, shame.
The censor had that changed to that weekend at Niagara when we hardly saw the falls. Sounds dirtier, doesn't it? And now, here it is, the Hollywood Production Code.
Nudity can never be permitted as being necessary for the plot. The effect of nudity on the average audience is immoral. Transparent materials, translucent materials, and silhouette are even more suggestive than exposure. Extended body movements while the feet are stationary violate decency and are wrong. No approval shall be given to the following words or phrases. Alley cat, apply to a woman.
Tomcat, apply to a man.
Broad, apply to a woman. Tart, apply to a woman. Hot, apply to a woman. Chippy, apply to a woman. Madam, apply to prostitution. Goose, in a vulgar sense. You can't say in your hat. You can't say hold your hat. You can't say nerds. You can't say nuts, except when meaning great. You can't say pregnant. You can't say virgin. You can't say damn. You can't say hell. You can't say God. You can't say God. You can't say Lord. You can't say louse. Can't make a noise like. Impure love must not be the subject of farce or comedy. Excessive and lustful kissing is not to be shown on the screen. 6 seconds is the maximum length of a kiss in a movie scene. And it has to be done. Simply has to be done. And it has to be done. Simply has to be done with a closed, dry mouth. The treatment of bedrooms must be governed by delicacy and good taste. Which means, of course, that even though a man and a woman are fully dressed, if they embrace on the sofa or bed, then one at least on the couple must have one foot up on the floor. Way back in 1930, on a shining April morn, The legendary Hollywood production code was born. Oh, do the production. Do the production. Do the production. Do the production. Do
Now that was factual. That was the Hollywood production code. And you know, if you think about it now, what we see in the movies and on cable TV, oh my gosh, they'd be rolling in their graves. Anyway,
Remember when Bob Hope and
the
Our
next
last nominee this evening for the Tony as Most Outstanding Musical began life as a story based on fact, published in a national magazine. From then it became a play which went through several workshop and off-Broadway productions, finally arrived on Broadway this season. Here is the celebration song of the winning football team from the best little whorehouse in Texas.
Now, Tommy Tune, when he did this choreography is just truly amazing. And there was a lot of discussion whether Henry Fonda could actually use that title on the Tony Awards that year. The play, it's sort of a one-line joke, if you want to know the truth, about the very famous bordello in Texas. But in some places where it toured, they had to rename the play as The Best Little Chicken Ranch in Texas. So all of it was in good fun. It's truly PG, but we know what the story is about. And here we go.
We're gonna walk and stomp and whoop it up tonight. Those little gals won't never ever be the same. They're gonna love it when we walk and stomp and whoop it up. All right. It's even better than a Aggie football game.
Better than a football game?
And then we're going to show them all a thing or two. We're going to demonstrate just what a champion can do. Yeah! We're gonna play them out and out tonight. They won't have ever seen nobody quite like me. Oh, we're gonna and thank you tonight. I swear I don't know how they'll stand such ecstasy. All right, goalpost we've been deprived so long, but now we're stop. I'll bet the girls are counting up the minutes till we ain't the only ones.
75 miles until we get to heaven. 75 miles until our plans are. 75 miles until we get to the chicken ranch, where history and Aggie boys get.
Gonna walk and stomp and whoop it up tonight. Those little cows won't ever, ever be the same. Yeehaw! 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 When we walk and stomp and whoop it up, all right. It's even better than a Aggie football game. And then we're going to show them all a thing or two. We're going to demonstrate just what a champion can do. Yeah!
22 miles until we get to heaven. 22 miles until our plans are. 22 miles until we get to the chicken ranch, where history and Aggie boys did.
Now, we all know it was harmless good fun, and this ran for a while in the 1970s because of the nature of it. It was sort of like all the businessmen in town wanted to see it, and it was a one-line joke. It hasn't held up all that well. They tried reviving it with Anne Margaret a few years ago, and of course, the movie has Dolly Parton as Miss Mona, but it's just not all that great a piece. It was just a curiosity at the time. Tommy Tune also in 1988 did this wonderful concert at Carnegie Hall celebrating the 100th birthday of Irving Berlin. Watch this great choreography that he created as well.
And now in the original hit is Tommy Tune.
The well-to-do up on Lenox Avenue, on that famous thoroughfare, with their noses in the air, high hats and colored collars, white spats and $15, spending every dime for a wonderful time. If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where Harlem sits, putting on the Ritz. Spangled gowns upon a bevy of high browns from down the levee, all misfits, putting on the Ritz. That's where each and every Lulu Belle goes, every Thursday evening with her swell beau, rubbing elbows. Come with me and we'll attend their jubilee and see them spend their last 2 bits, putting on the Ritz. On the
He is an amazing presence on stage. And of course, the white tuxedo helped. He knew how to make himself look even more distinctive. And his ability to create aggressive looking, really dynamic tap is just really outstanding. And he uses that a lot.
On May 1st, the curtain went up on a musical called My One and Only. And Broadway had itself that rarest of all show business phenomena, a brand new, bouncing, bona fide smash hit. Last week it was showered with 9 Tony nominations, and 4 of them went to the 2 incandescent stars you're about to see stranded on a desert island on our stage. Ladies and gentlemen, in the television premiere of one of the show-stopping numbers from My One and Only, the toast of Broadway, Twiggy and Tommy Tune.
Life has just begun. Jack has found his Jill. Don't know what you've done, but I'm all a thrill. How can words express your divine appeal? You can never guess all the love I feel. From now on, lady, I insist. For me, no other girls exist.
Wonderful, marvelous, you should care for me. It's awful nice, paradise, it's what I love to see.
You made my life so glamorous. You can't blame me for feeling amorous.
Oh, it's wonderful,
It's marvelous that you should care for me.
don't mind telling you, in my humble fashion, that you thrill me through with a tender passion. When you said you can't imagine my emotion, I swore then and there, permanent devotion. You made all other boys seem blind. Just you alone filled me with
It's wonderful,
it's wonderful,
marvelous.
it's marvelous.
You should care for me. It's awful nice,
awful nice,
paradise.
paradise.
It's what I love
to see.
My dear, it's 4-leaf clover time. From now on, my heart's working overtime. Oh, it's wonderful, it's marvelous that you should care for me.
Tommy Tune and Twiggy were a great pair. They really like each other. They became really good friends. A lot of discussion about how good the word "good friends" was. But Tommy Tune is not openly gay, so the speculation that he and Twiggy were having an affair is probably not truly accurate. But who knows? I wasn't there, and this were when my one and only opened in New York. Frank Rich, who was the critic of the New York Times, known as the Butcher of Broadway at the time, was told by the Times, "You better start liking something," and he gave my one and only rave reviews. It was the first of what has become several Gershwin musicals that have happened since, and Tommy Tune was the first. Now, it was not uh, well reviewed by Michael Feinstein, who was Ira Gershwin's protege, his archivist. Ira Gershwin dispatched Michael to see what was going on with this, and Michael was upset because he didn't feel that the orchestrations reflected the right era of the music. Michael Feinstein's about 5'6", and Tommy Tune, is a whole foot taller. They got so mad in a fight one day that Tommy Tune picked him up by his elbows and threw him away, kind of a thing. I mean, they did not get along at all. And Ira Gershwin then told Michael Feinstein, just come back. As long as they're getting our music out there in a way a new generation will hear it, that's what I want our music to be. So Tommy Tune had his vision of what my one and only should be like. Michael Feinstein, watching out for Ira Gershwin's interests, had his, and Tommy Tune obviously prevailed.
The last nominee for Best Musical is Nine, and one of the New York critics described...
So let me tell you about this a little bit. Nine is a musical that is the little musical that could. It was opening up against Dreamgirls, and Michael Bennett, as I told you last week, was spending a lot of money on coke, had become irrational, wanted his musical Dreamgirls to be the next big success of his life. Tommy Tune, when he was brought into the musical Nine, realizes that the director that had been going at it was all wrong. He had men and women cast in the various parts. He fired all of the men and decided that the women were the people that drove this director. So everybody had to be a woman. And he cast it and he designed it so it was in black and white, a very stark, very stylized way to present this midlife crisis that this director is having. Meanwhile, they had no money for promotion because they had spent all the money reworking the costumes and so forth. And Tommy Tune decides to open the musical the night before the Tony nominations. That way, all the Tony nominating people would have been in the audience or would have had to have seen it coming right up to opening night. It secured more Tony nominations than Dreamgirls. Michael Bennett was so infuriated at his former protege, Tommy Tune, that Tommy Tune was worried for his life because Michael Bennett was so irrational that he thought that Michael Bennett might try to have him killed. This is a great number in Nine. And there's another number I want to tell you about and how this one even got on the Tonys. There's a song in Nine called A Call from the Vatican, where essentially one of Tommy Tune's mistress, not Tommy Tune's mistress, where Guido Contini's mistress is lowered from the ceiling of the stage as if the two of them are having phone sex while his wife is sitting in the next chair. Well, the scene was considered so overtly sexual that CBS refused to air it, but yet they let this scene go instead.
In this fashion, it is a marvelous musical, shimmering with theatrical and musical ideas, full of the tawdry joys of life, as hopeful as tomorrow, as decadent as today. It's the story of an Italian film director turning 40, and in this scene, he remembers a woman he met on the beach when he was 9 years old.
to make a woman happy, you rely on what you were born with, because it is in your blood. Be Italian. Be Italian. Take a chance and try to steal a body kiss. Be Italian, you rapscallion. When you hold me, don't just hold me, but hold this. Please be gentle, sentimental. Go ahead and try to give my cheek a pat. But be daring and uncaring. When you pinch me, try to pinch me where there's fat. Be a singer, be a lover. Pick the flower now before the chances pass. Be Italian, you rapscallion. Live today as if it may become your land. Bambini, ascoltate, adesso vi insegno la tarantella, la danza più bella del mondo, la danza che respira la passione e l'amore. A posto, bambini, siete pronti? Accetti, via!
What is so incredible about that is that CBS just didn't get it at all. And then, of course, Tommy Tune wins the Tony for Best Director, Best Musical, and everybody was shocked because Nine then became the Tony Award-winning musical that year. And this is Tommy Tune.
Well, this is just great. And I'm very grateful, and if I started saying the names of everybody that I'm grateful for, we'd be here till Good Morning America starts. You know who you are. You're every single human being who has contributed to making Nine such a wonderful experience. It started with an idea in Maury Eston's brain. Every one of you from that moment till now, and I hope for as long as we run, which I hope is 9 years, I just have to say thank you, and I have to do a gesture because words aren't enough. Tony, you have to be still a minute. Here you are, every one of you. All right, I'm going home. Bye.
In the musical are Karen Akers for Nine, Laurie Beecham for Joseph.
9-1 everything. Now, Tommy Tune continues his streak with Grand Hotel, again rescuing this one out of town by making it into truly a dance musical based upon the Vicky Baum novel, and again based upon the movie, the story of these people that end up populating a hotel in Berlin in 1930. Anti-Semitism on the rise, challenging characters, and so forth. So let's get to this.
In the course of this show, we'll be showing you brief scenes and production numbers from the 8 nominated. The action unfolds. A revolving door turns, and the dance of life goes on. But time is running out for 6 guests. Elizaveta Grunshinskaya, a fabled ballerina on her farewell tour, her 7th. Rafaela Otanio, her devoted companion, very devoted. Herman von Preissing, a businessman, as honest as possible. Frieda Flammer, a typist, but not for long. Baron Felix Amadeus Benvenuto von Geigern, a nobleman and a thief. And Otto Klingenlein, a bookkeeper and a dying man. Tonight, we meet one of those guests, the bookkeeper who has checked out of the hospital and into the Grand Hotel, intent on experiencing the good life at least once before he dies. In short order, he discovers wine, women, friendship, and song, all of them in that fabulous place called the Grand Hotel.
We'll take a glass together in celebration of our meeting, in celebration of our being face to face. Friendly, civilized members of the race. I'll bring to you. No, I to you. You'll bring to me. Then you to me. I'm sure we do. Oh, I know we do. But find no finer company. Thank you, Baron. We'll take a glass together, and we will lift it to the good life. And as we're lifting it, we will most sincerely say, Prosit! Your health, sir. Salute! And skål! Nostrovia! Avotra Sante! For one brief moment in this cold and careless day, we'll take a glass together. Bring to you. No, I to you. Then vice versa. Then vice versa. I'm sure it's true. Oh, I know it's true. Things may be bad, but could be worse. Absolutely. We'll ask no why or whether. We'll spend each moment. Yes, we will. As it moves us. And it moves us. Come, my comrade. Comrade. Nip the nectar of the day. Sweet neck. Sherry. Campari. Scotch whiskey. Chartreuse. A cognac. Absent for one more moment in a world gone cold and crass. We'll take a glass together. We'll take a glass together, and we will lift it to the good life. And as we're lifting it, we will most sincerely say, Prosit, your concern, salute.
and 11.
The interesting thing about that whole situation was, as again, it was originally supposed to be men and women. Tommy Tune refused that, but there was a problem creating the original cast recording. The original actor died of complications of AIDS. The second act, and they hadn't recorded the original cast album as yet. The second actor who took the part also died of complications of AIDS, and it was about 2 years in before they actually recorded this, having to then satisfy the estate of the first actor who was contracted to record this by actually putting a cut of him singing his major song from Nine as an extra track on the CD at the time. It was a very complicated, sad process, and even a more complicated, sad time for the musical. The musical ran about 3 years until James Niederlander made a really big opportunity and wanted to take the original cast and tour it nationwide, which then shut down the New York production prematurely. Nine really is terrific. The movie, I'm not really sure does it justice, but it's really a wonderful theatrical piece. The next musical that Tommy Tune directs is the Will Rogers Follies. And just look at the choreography. And so much of what Tommy Tune has done prior to this, you can see duplicated here. Just stunning, complicated body movement choreography.
With our first nominated musical, ladies and gentlemen, the Will Rogers Follies. In every medium, the Broadway stage, the movies, radio, newspapers, the lecture circuit, and even the rodeo. Because he was the star of 10 editions of the Ziegfeld Follies on Broadway, the authors have turned Will Rogers' life story into a splashy and spectacular brand new Ziegfeld Follies. Here are Tony nominees Keith Carradine and Katie Huffman, along with the 16 gorgeous new Ziegfeld girls. The year is 1928, the height of Rogers' fame, and Will is about to be asked a very important question by a really distinguished-looking fellow.
Mr. Rogers, have you ever thought about running for President of the United States?
As a felon.
Your country needs you, Mr. Rogers.
Well, I'll tell you, this country might be used to having anything at all named as a presidential candidate, but we haven't quite sunk to the professional actor stage. That's what I said in 1928, folks.
Mr. Rogers, you've been invited to speak at the Republican Convention in Kansas City, and you've also been invited to speak at the Democratic Convention in Houston.
Oh, boy, the Democrats. They always have more fun at their conventions because they know they aren't going anywhere afterwards.
So what do you say, Mr. Rogers? Will you run for president or not?
I sure will.
Okay, I know we're all sitting around with so much time to learn things. I want to see if any of us could learn to do that. In any event, it's really pretty amazing. Susan Stroman, who really built her career using Showboat as a big boost jumping off spot in 1994 with Hal Prince, went on to do Crazy for You, Oklahoma, Contact, and of course the producers, The Young Frankenstein, and Bullets Over Broadway. Truthfully, Stroman kind of, in my opinion, lost track of what her ability was, but she really did some great work. And this is Showboat.
Send in Times Square, please.
I mean, Crazy for You.
And this being Broadway, what we need now is a theater. Would you send in a theater, please? That's perfect. But what would the Great White Way be without a little traffic? So some traffic, please. Now that's enough. That's enough. The opening set for the first of tonight's 4 Tony-nominated musicals, Crazy for You.
Bad news, go away, all round someday in March or May. I can't be bothered now. My bonds and shares may fall downstairs. Who cares? Who cares? I'm dancing and I can't be bothered now.
Hi, Bobby. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Bobby. Hi, Bobby. Hi,
See, I'm dancing and I
Crazy for You is a brand new all-American musical filled to the brim with wonderful Gershwin songs and a new book by Ken Ludwig, which takes us back to those glorious days of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, when boy meets girl, comedy was king, and dancing made the heart feel lighter. The following excerpt from Crazy for You begins at the moment from Act 1, when a bevy of glamorous New York chorus girls teaches a town full of Western boys to dance their troubles away. They're soon joined by Tony nominee Harry Groner and Jody Benson and the entire Crazy for You company in a celebration of joy.
Stroman actually was born in Wilmington, Delaware. She goes to New York, and her big break comes from an off-Broadway revival of Flora the Red Menace, and she develops a relationship there with Candor and Ebb. Hal Prince sees that, and she then choreographs a production of Don Giovanni that he's going to then direct. Showboat then becomes her
This just in, David Merrick has one of the biggest musicals on Broadway is adapted from a big Hollywood movie. Big Hollywood movie didn't fit on the marquee, so they just called it Big. Here's a moment from the liveliest afternoon in the history of F.A.O. Schwartz. Big.
Fun. Hold up when you're cold. Fun. And it's a secret, I'm told. Fun. I'm getting big but not old. You can have it alone, but two are better than one. What I wouldn't give to be a kid until eternity. What I wouldn't give to be a kid again, have fun.
That was big.
This. Oh, tonight's wine list.
Give me that. Here now is the finale from director Hal Prince's inspired new version of a 1927 American classic. From the stage of the Gershwin Theater, nominated for Best Revival of a Musical, led by John McMartin and Elaine Stritch, with Tammy Amerson, the show-stopping Charleston, choreographed by Susan Stroman from
Showboat.
Just like her grandpa, giving the whole show away for nothing.
Why do I love you?
What are you up to now?
Why do you love me?
Kim, you behave yourself.
Why should there be two?
You're fooling with me.
Happy as we.
Stop it now, everybody.
Can you see
Looking
the
at
wild wherefore?
You're a naughty girl.
I should be the one you care for.
All right, I'll tell you something. I'm a lucky girl.
Oh, Grandma, I am lucky too.
I know, I told you so.
All our dreams of joy seem to come true. Maybe that's because you love me.
Maybe that's why I love you. What are you gonna, Andrew, what's she gonna do?
Her next musical was not so well received. It wasn't her fault, but it really made no sense. It was a Candra Deb musical again. Their relationship with her created the ability for her to get involved here. It was supposed to be a musical based upon the movie They Shoot Horses, Don't They? But they couldn't get the rights to that, so they created their own story, and the whole thing is a fantasy, but it's not really well positioned.
Live on the world-famous Steel Pier, it's the 1933 Atlantic City Dance Marathon. I'm your host, Mick Hamilton, and in just a few moments, this glorious marathon will get underway. And look who's just signed up. It's Lindy's lovebird, Miss Rita Racine, and her partner, Flyboy Bill Kelly. And hey, isn't that sizzling Shelby Stevens? Folks, even though times are tough beyond that boardwalk, you can bet you'll find a high-flying world of romance and dreams right here on the Steel Pier. Feel the world is sitting on your shoulders. Dance when your troubles feel as big as 10-ton boulders. Dance, dance your blues off. Tap bad news off. Shake your shoes off. Feel an anger deep inside that smolders. Dance, 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 mister. Dance, sister. Come on, everybody dance, 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 dance. That's right, boys. Give me some sass.
Come on, honey, now. They're watching us.
Baby. Hey, take a look at this. Brand new skip.
All right, separate. You can bunny hug, but you can't grizzly bear.
This is how we get a sponsor.
This is how we get shut down.
Get out of here, you nuts.
Businessmen, do you like what you see? Sponsor your favorites. They get your vote of confidence. You get their backs. And while you're deciding just who's going to be your sweet patootie, why not consider couple number 17? Go on now, let that cat meow, meow, meow. That's brother and sister sensation, Bet and Buddy Becker. Come on, everybody, let's rip up the joint. Take a look at Miss Rita Racine, folks. You ain't seen nothing yet. Now that's floor polish. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Steel Pier. Dance your blues off. Tap bad news off. Drag your shoes off. And worries wash away. When you feel that anger deep inside that smolders, dance, 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 mister. Dance, sister. Come on, everybody dance.
Again, her choreography is truly outstanding, and it's a great gift that she had. But one of the things that Susan Stroman was very good at was props. She used them in Crazy for You. She used, again, a revolving door in Showboat. But one of the things that she starts to do as she's directing is she thinks loud makes it better. When Young Frankenstein was revived or was created, it was so loud and so overly amped that it lost the audience and the comedy went away. When it was redone in London in a smaller version, with a much lower decibel, it fared much better.
Our next nominee for Best Revival of a Musical is a legendary show about a smooth talker who turns an entire town upside down with double talk and flim-flammery.
Hillary Clinton?
Watch it.
6 trombones led the big parade with 110 cornets close at hand. They were followed by rows and rows of the finest virtuosos, the cream of every famous band. 76 trombones caught the morning sun with 110 cornets right behind. There were more than 1,000 reeds springing up like weeds. There were horns of every shape and kind. There were copper-bottom timpani and horse platoons, thundering, thundering all along the way. Double bell euphoniums and big bassoons. Each bassoon having its big fat say. There were 50 mounted cannons in the battery, thundering, thundering louder than before. Clarinets of every size and trumpeters who'd improvise a full octave higher than the score.
And of course, probably her masterpiece is The Producers.
Germany was having trouble, what a sad, sad story. Needed a new leader to restore its former glory. Where, oh, where was he? Where could that man be? We looked around, and then we found the man for you and me.
Deutschland
Springtime for Hitler and Germany. Rhineland's a fine land once more. Springtime for Hitler and Germany. Watch out, Europe, we're going on tour. Springtime for Hitler and Germany.
It's springtime.
Winter for Poland and France. Springtime for Hitler and Germany.
Springtime, 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 springtime.
Come on, Germans, go into your dance.
I was born in Dusseldorf, and that is why they call me Rolf.
Don't be stupid, be a smarty. Come and join the Nazi party.
I never. Talk about bad taste.
Come on, let's get out of here before they kill us.
The Führer is coming. The Führer is coming. The Führer is coming.
Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler!
Heil Hitler! Springtime for Hitler and Germany.
Heil myself. Heil to me. I'm the crowd who's out to change our history. Heil myself. Raise your hand. There's no greater dictator in the land. Everything I do for you. If you're looking for a war, here's World War II. Heil myself. Raise your beer. Every hotsy-totsy Nazi stand and cheer. Heil myself. Heil myself. Stand and cheer.
Well, that was Susan's big. One of the problems with the producer's movie was that it was meant to be an exact copy of the play, and that's what she did. She goes on to do Young Frankenstein, and another musical based upon the Woody Allen movie Bullets Over Broadway. But truthfully, Susan Stroman hasn't really done much in the past 10, 12 years. She was really, really quite a talent in a musical. And, one of the things she did, however, to her cast of the producers, I have a friend who was in it, she promised them all parts in Young Frankenstein and then literally cast none of them. They were devastated by it because they were all led to believe they were going to be cast and participate in the next Mel Brooks great fantasy. Oh, wow, Marcia, you were Cred Burko's third grade teacher. Isn't that cool? Was he talented then? Wow. I'm just looking through the comments to see if there's anything that I need to answer to, but that's great. You're talking about the teaching. I met Patty Lupone's eighth grade English teacher on a cruise once as well. So you never know who you're going to meet and what that's going to mean. Well, I hope everybody had fun. I'll send the film of this out as soon as it's processed, and I'll see you all next Friday as usual. Take care. Stay cool. Bye-bye.